now the Democratic whip, the U.S. House of Representatives, Congressman Steny Hoyer of Maryland, and now you are entitled to a 25-second delay.
I told Mick I was going to take that. 25 seconds.
Exactly. You might need it. So you've got to explain Bernie Sanders' success to us.
So, Steny, it's, you know, it's crazy. I remember telling people when Ron Paul was sort of exploding and everybody was giving him all this money, I was like, they said, what was he like working with him? I go, it's kind of, you know, kind of a strange bird, hung out by himself.
Yeah, sure.
But it was wild to see him blow up on the campaign trail. Now we have on the Democratic side Bernie Sanders, a guy we both worked with. We both love Bernie Sanders. Bernie was also sort of this guy kind of off to himself. And now to look and see that he's a rock star. It's like seeing your next door neighbor like growing up to be Bono. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
So I think we have a lot of disaffected, a lot of angry, upset people who think those guys that have been in charge aren't doing a great job.
Yeah.
And so they are repairing to people who are not perceived.
But I mean,
as
you know Bernie.
guys.
You're surprised, aren't you?
Guy?
Yeah, but you're surprised, aren't you? The huge crowds out there.
You know, I'm not surprised that the disaffected on the left and the right are looking for something different.
Right.
And I think in our party, Bernie is something different. In the Republican Party, you've got three candidates who are something different, Trump and Cruz and Carson. And they have the majority of the vote in the Republican Party.
Okay, but there's different, like Donald Trump, very different.
Yes.
Bernie Sanders, I think different is a little bit of a condescending term. He has served as mayor. He has served as senator for decades, right?
Mika,
he has been consistent. He has had integrity.
Yes.
He means what he says, and he says what he means. That's not different. That's something we're finally looking for.
No, I agree with all that
it may be different,
said.
but that's not his fault. And don't put different in quotes like
Okay, Mika, let him answer.
Mika,
yes.
You're using different as a pejorative.
Well, you sounded
You're different than I am.
Yes.
That's not a pejorative. It's just a fact. Bernie has made himself an independent socialist, voting with the Democratic Party. He has made himself different than all the rest of the members of the Senate caucus. And that doesn't mean he's bad or good, but he's different. And I think Bernie speaks for folks who want to see something different. I think Rand Paul did the same. They want to see somebody who speaks differently and got a more expansive view. And I think Bernie brings that. And I think a lot of people are responding to that.
Have you ever been able to work with him on anything?
I haven't worked. He was a member of the Democratic caucus.
Yeah,
I was the Democratic majority leader. He was fine to work with. And he was supportive of the policies that we wanted to put in place.
I want to talk about that word different. In reality, particularly in a world where we're all individuals with this thing, is the real different now Jeb Bush? Whereas in reality, Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, who are kind of rugged individualists, speak their minds, they're off color, is that the norm now? That we're real different to the American public compared to who I am is what was traditionally viewed as mainstream, and maybe that's different now because in this world of individual, that was just above everything.
No, I know what you're saying, but in
It's
politics they are different.
Not yet.
Politics lags behind the rest of us.
In 2016,
I'm talking very high-minded.
Yeah, but you know, the thing we've seen, Steny, in 2016 is, and you've seen it on the front lines, people are angry. They want the Sanders, they want the Trumps, they want the people to shake things up.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And again, Bernie Sanders is certainly not different in the same way that Trump, Cruz, and Carson are different from Christie, Bush, and others on their side. There's a stark difference.
And you proved that by saying that Bernie worked with you guys and supported what you did. Ted Cruz couldn't even get a second person in the Senate to support him on getting a vote.
Cruz is somebody who is way out of the mainstream, very, very ideological, and very unwilling to compromise at all within a democracy. And if you work in a legislative body, you've got to work with other people. It's not just you. It's not a dictatorship. And Ted Cruz has not heard that drum. But I want to make it clear, Bernie, I think, is a mainstream candidate in the sense that he talks about the issues I think that people are concerned about. Hillary's talking about those same issues. They have a substantive debate. They don't have a slugfest. The other side is having a slugfest between two very, very different approaches to politics. Jeb Bush, pretty traditional. Maybe different from Trump in that sense, traditional in the sense that he wants to talk about issues, he wants to talk about his record, he wants to talk about going forward, and Trump wants to talk about being tough and simplistic answers.
So, Congressman, you said in an interview in September with The Hill that Bernie Sanders raises some issues that are important, but I don't think there's any expectation he's going to be president of the United States. 4 months on, and what we've seen in the polls since then, do you still believe he will not be president of the United States?
No, I think that Bernie Sanders will not be the president of the United States. I think Hillary Clinton is going to win the primaries. Maybe not every one of the primaries, but I think she's going to be our nominee, and I think she'll be the president of the United States, because I think the American public, in the final analysis, will say, I want somebody who is reasonable, substantive experience, tough enough to take on the challenges that we have, but also understands my plight in life, and whether it's education, whether it's jobs, whether it's child care, whether it's voting rights, and the environment. I think they're going to repair to Hillary Clinton in the final analysis. I think she's going to be elected.
Yeah, and all those issues you just mentioned.
Yeah, as far as I know. So as far as being different goes, you know, it's interesting. Bernie Sanders has voted with the Democratic.
I didn't realize different was.
No. I'm just saying that he voted with the Democratic Party.
He did
95% of the time. So it is. I'm just bringing out the difference from Ted Cruz and him. Stenny, we love having you, and we'd love to come down and talk.
It's a deal.
Let's do it.
It's a deal. Thanks a lot.
And boys, the word of the day is different. Congressman Steny Hoyer, thank you very much.